Carolina Panthers. You're like, when were you guys going to start talking about the Carolina Panthers? Well, it is a game week for the Panthers, coming off a loss to the New England Patriots, which many have bookmarked as the first New England Patriots win, not under a coach named Bill Belichick in a couple of decades, which it's strange to think about that, but to think about the Carolina Panthers as a whole and where they might be and where they find themselves. The Carolina Panthers need a little bit of fine-tuning. They had a very physical practice, according to Dave Canales, on Sunday. Practice today. There was practice this morning. There's practice Tuesday morning. And then they have a joint session with the New York Jets, which is still on the cards as training camp wraps up on Thursday, and they start making some cuts right around the time the Jets play the Panthers. And their only home preseason appearance, the Panthers' only home preseason appearance at Bank of America on Saturday night. But today's practice hasn't gone too well, apparently. Defense doing a lot of celebrating, and the offense doing a lot of huddling with themselves. And that's probably not good, considering the questions that were asked after yesterday's practice. Adam Thielen, the veteran statesman, leading wide receiver, all-pro from last year, was asked if the offense needed preseason game reps.
No, I don't think so. That's not my decision. But I think the way that you can tell that the coaches have a very clear plan, right? Today was a next step in that plan, right? A lot of move the ball, a lot of just situation. Hey, it's 1st and 10. Okay, we got 4 yards on the run. It's 2nd and 6. Hey, we got a sack. It's 3rd and 12, right? There was a lot of just, there was a very clear plan of what today looked like. It wasn't just roll the ball out there and play football, right? It was real. It was try to simulate real football. I think the more you do that, obviously if the Jets come in here and facing another team is another step to that process. And now if they want us to play preseason games, we'll play preseason games. But I think there's a clear-cut plan in what they're trying to accomplish to get us ready for week 1. That's all that matters.
Week 1. That is all that matters, right? It's all that matters. It's true. In that aspect of things, it's the one that counts. Week 1 is the one that counts. But it seems so far away, right? It seems so far away from what you saw on Thursday night in terms of the plan and how they're trying to get this team ready. Now, Saturday could speak completely different. We could see a bunch of starters, and then we could all quit crying in our own milk right now. We could quit saying, they should have gotten more reps, they should have played more ones and whatnot. But Adam Thielen was very diplomatic in answering that question. So let's ask him the same question in a different way. With that joint practice coming up with the Jets in 72 hours, would he rather have those reps in a joint practice or in the preseason to get ready for the regular season?
That's something that I don't even think about, to be honest. I just look at the schedule and I go to work every single day and figure it out. But, if I was a coach, maybe I'd have a different mentality, but I'm not a coach. So for me, it's just you just show up and you bust your butt every rep you get, because that's going to only make things easier when you get to game time.
Bust your butt every rep. Sounds like every practice you've ever heard of, right? Every NFL practice has that. Bust your butt, work through every rep, work through the kinks. But they're still dealing with some of those kinks in practice. It is a Monday. And remember, when we talk about NFL teams, and especially when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, unfortunately, there's a standard that's been set, and it's time-tested. What have you done for me lately? And when it comes to the fan base, and what comes to us who watch this team, what have you done for us lately? And to be frank, not a lot. Not a lot has been done lately. And so, Adam Thielen, again, answering that question, kind of like, I'm not a coach. I don't really know. I mean, that's incredibly diplomatic. But he's trying not to ruffle feathers. It's pretty clear. And it sounds like he kind of doesn't agree with the move. Like he would prefer to run a few crisp routes and get hit. Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals, came out and said, I need to get hit once. Like I need to feel that impact to remind myself of what it's like to get smashed on a football field. Now, granted, he's coming off of injury, and so a lot of teams are thinking about those kinds of things. But would it be good to take at least a sack and not let it be Jack Plummer taking a sack?
Or Jake Luton.
Like, Let's see Chuba Hubbard get tackled one time. Even if it's just one handoff, that's all it has to be. Force feed a couple of handoffs, and that's all it is. Just get out there and get a couple of reps. We have depth at running back. This team has that depth. I don't need him to do anything crazy. Work out of the shotgun. That's fine. Just throw a couple of balls, get in the headsets, and feel house. And maybe that is the plan. Maybe that's the plan on Saturday. And again, we can all stop crying and moaning and groaning about why the number ones aren't getting any offense. Maybe that is truly the plan. But right now, at least from what we're hearing, and Mike Kay at the Charlotte Observer is there, and follow Mike Kay because he's been at every practice. It has been very valuable. Talked about how the defense was whooping it up today at practice. A 9:30 a.m. practice on Monday morning, August the 12th, where the offense couldn't get anything going on, where they ended up having to huddle before they start breaking out into more 11-on-11 drills. Something isn't right. Something is not right. If they're not understanding what's happening in Brad Idzik's system, if the personnel just aren't clicking, if they're not as crisp as they think they need to be, that has to get fixed. And unfortunately, they only have 2 preseason games to do it. The last game is August 24th on the road. They don't play until September the 8th when it counts. So you got to get it worked out here before Saturday, and you got to get it worked out before the 24th. It feels like it's a lifetime away, but in reality, folks, the calendar doesn't lie. It's 12 days, and you are not practicing every day. Real game time reps. Get hit. Take a sack. Throw a ball into the ground. I don't care if it's 2nd and 30 and you're quote-unquote behind the chains. At least Bryce Young gets a live ball in a live game. Say I'm wrong.
Paul, here's the thing that I can appreciate about Adam Thielen's response, and I feel like you and I are both in agreement on this when we say it sounds like Thielen would like to get a couple of reps in an actual preseason game. I know for myself going into last week, into that Patriots preseason game, I was under the impression of, yeah, Adam Thielen, a veteran, he's been around the block a time or two in the NFL, he doesn't need the reps. But I can appreciate him understanding that, and from what it sounds like coming out of practice, is that the offense might be 2 steps behind the defense. And I know you can say, well, it's easier for defense because their one job is just to go get the football. But again, you're working under a new system with a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach. If something's not going right in practice, what makes you think that's going to go right week 1 in the first regular season game? Bryce Young and some of these offensive guys need to see some in-game reps in the preseason. I thought that's what the preseason was all about, right?
Adam Thielen, it's his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. For Bryce Young, as amazing as it sounds, it is his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. It's a 3rd different system for him. Again, just get out there, sling it around a little teeny bit. Again, if that's the plan, if this is the plan for Saturday, fine, all good. But tell me that's the plan. Tell us that is the plan. Practice reps are different. We grab each other's helmets, we smash each other, but it still doesn't count. It's not real. Get the real-time rep.
You just hit the nail on the head as far as just come out and tell us what the plan is, because you know what I feel like we're starting to tread into territories of? Frank Reich last year during the preseason as far as, oh, we're keeping the playbook limited. Oh, we don't know if we're going to play the starters or not during the preseason. Just give us the answers that we're looking for.
And that is the unfortunate burden that Dave Canales and his staff have. They have to follow that act. What have you done for me lately? Adam Thielen also asked one other thing which piqued my interest, what he is seeing out of a second-year Bryce Young.
Yeah, I think him just feeling really comfortable and trusting it. Probably maybe some of those throws he wouldn't have even attempted last year. Don't know why, but I would imagine a lot of it is just comfortability, in the system and what he's doing and his footwork. I don't know, right? Like I'm not in his head, but that's what it feels like to me. Just comfortable in what he's doing, where his reads are, how he's progressing, and then just trusting that we're going to make those contested catches. And we need to continue to do better, and individually I need to do better at that just to help him trust, that he can throw it when there is a defender on your back, that we're going to still make a play and come down with it.
I don't think there was ever any question of trust between Bryce Young and Adam Thielen. Like, Adam Thielen was the security blanket. Normally it's the tight end, right? The tight end is the best friend of the quarterback, but Adam Thielen last year, the only guy with sure hands across the board. It wasn't 40 yards here, 50 yards here, 60 yards here. It was more like 8 yards, 7 yards.
And then get out in space and see what you can do.
Right, but he did have that trust. But it makes me believe when Adam Thielen talks about having the comfort in being able to make some of the throws this year that he wasn't comfortable in throwing last year. Some of that certainly had to do with chemistry, but I wonder how much in his head he had the prior coaching staff. And what I mean by that is sometimes in life, we don't want to let people down. Whether it's in work, whether it's family, you've been entrusted to do something and they place their full faith in you. As a number 1 draft pick for Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers placed their full faith in him to make something happen on the field. And perhaps that got into his head to where he didn't, as a prideful person, as someone who was led by a legendary coach in Nick Saban, who he never let down and did all the right things and said all the right things. He comes into Carolina and somebody got into his head that he didn't want to let people down, that he didn't want to make the throws that he could have made, but decided to make more conservative plays. I'm giving Bryce Young the benefit of the doubt here. Some of you may say, Paul, you are crazy. But when it comes to Young and being comfortable, if he's more comfortable this year, hopefully that's part of the fix that is this Humpty Dumpty problem of the quarterback room of the Carolina Panthers. That second-year Bryce Young is getting those shells put back together. I'm not saying he's a fragile player by any means, but I think something got in his head, and even Adam Thielen says, I don't know what it was, but he's making the throws this year. And hopefully that is encouraging, and that's part of the process that gets him to take that step forward and command the Panthers' offense.
Well, I mean, he certainly was in uncharted waters last season in his first year in the NFL, as far as going from his Heisman season at Alabama and also just playing under the most prestigious college football coach of all time, and Nick Saban, to then having his head coach fired 6 games into the season. I'm sure that I would not want that situation on anybody in their rookie season in the NFL, but unfortunately for Bryce, it just so happened to be a reality last year with the Carolina Panthers.
Fear is a very powerful thing. And if you are afraid to let the people down, again, I get it. There is a faith, there is a trust, there is that determination. And I felt it before in my life, and I'm sure some of you had too. You don't want to let people down that have placed their faith in you. But sometimes it happens. And hopefully there's some strength within you and some strength within the next person that's there to encourage you, to push you forward. And you're looking to see if Bryce Young has that encouragement to where he's okay and comfortable making the throws that Adam Thielen says he wasn't comfortable making last year for some reason. He doesn't know. But to win that trust, to make sure that he's got the chemistry with guys, hopefully they're moving in that right direction. But we haven't seen it yet, right? We're only seeing it in practices. We're not seeing it on the field. And the proof is in the pudding. And unfortunately for the Carolina Panthers, they have to relive history sometimes in order for them to move forward. As unfair as that might be for this team, the pros that are on this team and the players that are on this team, they do have that burden to beat. 2-15 looms. What have you done for me lately?